Unless these things are there, the humanity cannot survive. I think all of you know this is all interconnected system. If you look back, how our forefathers were doing, in fact, in most cases, when you talk about what should be our food habits and all, people tell, eat what your grandmother used to give, not what your mother is giving today. If that is the way you will do, your digestive system will remain good and everything else, health will remain good. So we need to look back as to how our forefathers were doing. And if you look at, there used to be harmony between the human beings and the nature. The very famous Shaswatam Prakriti Manav Sangatam, and that is the truth. Sangatam Khalu Shaswatam. He is emphasizing. And also the Ved, the Ishopanishad says, you would have all read this, but the most important thing to look at is Tyakten and Magradha. Tyakten is त्याग की भावना के साथ में, and Magradha लालच मत करो. So if that is the things that we start thinking whenever we utilize any resource, that then only you will be able to conserve that and preserve that. And that will happen only if, as I said earlier, you are having some reverence to the resources. If you think that those resources are actually given to you as a gift, not as your rightful activity. And the Ved says that Mata Bhumi Putro Prithivya. That means if you think that these resources are given by earth, which is like your mother, then only you will be able to do it. And even in other places, if you look at Srimad Bhagavad Gita and all many other things, you will find this kind of story being told to all of us again and again, that you must use resources with reverence. And that means we have to have paradigm shift from prosperity through balance, not by excesses. We cannot keep on extracting the way we have been doing it so far, and processes have to be regenerative. We cannot be extractive all the time for all the time to come. So now who will do it? One is, of course, we can always say that the next generation should do it, and we have anyway lived our life. So, but that is not the way. There are and we can also say that we are scientists, we are not sociologists, so somebody else can do it for us. And it is to some extent, every one of us in some age group, we say there are several breakthroughs that are happening in the world and they excite us. Yesterday there was announcement of Nobel in quantum, and all those who are connected with quantum and optics are excited about it. Everybody is talking about it. But apart from that, there are so many other things, AI, ML, modeling, lot of things, lot of talks were held, gravitational waves, Higgs boson, so many things are being talked about, and we all want to know more and more about it, and some of us want to work in those areas, which is very good, we must do it. But even if you look at the Indian context, there has been a lot of good work that has happened in Indian science and technology, so many items that I have mentioned here. But one thing is that we are all limited by time, resources and our abilities, and therefore we need to prioritize. All of us cannot make a Mangalyaan, for example, or a Chandrayaan. So we need to take stock of what we can do and how we can put our activities in such a way that we can reach where we want to reach. And of course, we all know that we want to become a Vikasit Bharat. I think this is one slogan the current Prime Minister has given, which has changed the mindset of large number of Indians. So what should be our contribution? Let us think in that area, what should be our contribution? And that can happen, our means the community of scientists, technologists, engineers and managers. And that can happen only if we are able to assess where we stand. How to change? Okay. So it's not going back now. I I can do it from here if it is. Okay. So when we say Vikasit Bharat, what is Vikasit Bharat? And everybody can have their own definitions. In my definition, it has to be a high income group country. Today we are low income group country. We have to be self-reliant, everybody knows it, high-tech, and we also have to be inclusive nation. Now what is the meaning of inclusive? Again, there can be various definitions. We can find out our definition, whatever we want to have. But on the other side, we have man-made disasters resulting into natural calamities, extreme weather events, and if you're given a little thought to it, we had large number of natural calamities and man-made calamities during last year as well as this year. Resources are constant, as I said, and priorities have to be worked out. Now, I will give you some of the constants that we are having. Our land area is only 2.4% of the world, and our freshwater reserves are only 4% of the world. But we have to support about 18% of the humans. 18%, that is the human population. And 30% bovine population of the world. Added to that, we have 45,000 plus plant varieties, and so many migratory birds, types of migratory birds that come to India, and we need to support them. Cloudbursts, floods, landslides, lightning, cyclones, all these things are happening. Millions of hectares of crops are getting lost, livestock are getting lost, humans are getting, millions of people are getting displaced, 2 million is the last year. And worldwide, if you look at $2 trillion worth of loss happens every year. That means this is more than the economy of many countries put together. If you look close to us, Delhi, we are one of those 13 most polluted cities of the world. And overall, there are 13 top polluted cities that India hosts. And the most common pollutants are lead, cadmium, mercury, copper, nickel, pesticides, herbicides, and so on. Our land is deficient in nitrogen and phosphorus. These are the elements that we require in our agriculture. So, if you look at, this is not my graph, this is the graph given by World Economic Forum. If you look at it, the issues related to environment are on top. Green colors, they're all on top. And then there are other new age technology related issues also. So we need to actually focus, this community needs to focus on the issues that are related to environment, I think more than anything else that is required as of today. And of course, we cannot leave aside the security and defense, etc., etc. If you look at, again from the World Economic Forum, 52% of the world issues, the perception about the risk, global risk, is coming from 3 items. One is the environment, other is the conflicts, armed conflicts, and the last one, the third one, is because of the new age technologies, misinformation, disinformation, and related issues. So I think it is good time that the scientific community in our country focuses on these 3 things, because we are in the most vulnerable area of the world. And if you look at why I said most vulnerable area, if you look at the risk factor with respect to color, we are in the highest, one of the highest risk areas, and this is coming primarily because we are having good neighbors, and also the geostrategic situation that we are in, we need to have. 2016 onwards, I have listed some of the conflicts that we have been having. You will not find any year except for the COVID that we did not have any issue at either this border or that border. So this is how we are placed. In the area of pollution, there are so many things, you are all aware of it, but I want to talk about methane more, because our practices, our agriculture practices, our practices for rearing the animals, they all create a lot of methane in the air, and this methane is although short-lived, but it is super pollutant. It is also longer-lived greenhouse, but it is super pollutant, and therefore we need to do something about these things that we are there. Also look at, I was talking about 18% of the world population to be supported by 2.4% of land mass. But because of the pollution, our fertility rate, total fertility rate is going down. Today in Delhi, not today, in fact 2023 statistics for Delhi is 1.2. That means we are much below the replacement rate. And I just had the survey for different cities from Chandigarh, from Bangalore, Hyderabad. None of them are close to 2. Patna, Lucknow, all are less than 1.6, 1.5. So that being so, it is a very high alarming situation as far as the pollution is concerned. Also because of various reasons, our aquatic life is also getting into problem. Pharmaceuticals, personal care items, sunscreens, they are creating a lot of issues. And likewise, I said, nitrogen loss because of our agriculture practices. And there is huge chemical waste and biological waste and e-waste coming in our system. I think we need to work on those areas also. Look at this, the vulnerability. And we are again on top. The vulnerability of India as a country as far as the pollution is concerned. So we are on top in that. Misinformation, disinformation. Look at the color. Because of the various regions, geopolitics, geostrategy, geosecurity, we are again in the problem. I think this is another area that we need to focus on. Now with all those problems that we have made tremendous progress. There is no doubt in that. And in whichever area you take, defense, today we dominate in so many, at least regionally in so many technologies. Space, you are all aware, atomic energy, we have good capability. Decarbonization of transport, also a lot of work is happening. Hydrogen trade is supposed to start this December. Correct? Yeah. And there are works going on electric aircraft. This gentleman is not here from IIST. We were working with them on electric aircraft, electric and more electric aircraft. Ship also is on an anvil. Like that, a lot of work is happening. 200 plus gigawatt installation of renewable energy. And we have large number of things. Pharmacy of the world, 60% of the global requirement is being met by India, and very vibrant educational technologies, health technologies, financial sectors, etc. And not only us, even the global community also is recognizing. As per UNDP, we are in top 3 countries in 9 of 17 sustainable technologies. And as per Australian Strategic Policy Institute, we are somewhere there in top 5. Of course, China is leading in 37, USA in remaining 7, and India in first 5 countries in 29 technologies, second in smart tech materials and competitive advantage in so many other technologies. Even the US is also recognizing. Morning also it was told we are 3rd globally in scientific publications. QS data says we are 4th in research output. WIPO says we are 7th in resident patent filing, etc. So there is a good amount of recognition of what has been done in last few years. But whether it is good enough or not, we will discuss a little more about it. Okay, no problem. No problem. So as I was searching for the material, World Bank says that India has to apply 3I strategy. If we need to become leaders, at least in few of them, if not all, then there should be 3I strategies. And what is 3I? Is investment in technologies, infusion of technologies, and innovation. And of course, investment is money. Money has to come in. Government is trying to bring in a lot of money. Today morning, the chief guest also mentioned. But infusion of technologies may require some international collaboration, and we must not shy away from doing that. Many times, for being Atmanirbhar, we start talking only Indian. There is no reason for us to be diffident about it, about the collaborations with anybody else, best in the world. But for that, even we have to be equal to them. So we have to raise our bar and then become their partners. And innovation, of course, we currently are 38 in the world. We have risen from low ranks, but whether it is good, that needs to be looked at. And the recommendation is that we must look at these kind of things: the advanced cognitive skills, digital and AI fluency, green engineering, socio-technical competencies, and things like that. So that is the recommendation World Bank gives us. But we also need to look at, are we having enough people, skilled people, or are we doing enough work in skilling of people? So again, if you look at, we are not very badly off, but here we still need to go up. So there is a lot of requirement for the educational institutes particularly, and organizations like AICTE or DRDO or ISRO, the scientific organizations, to work together to bring up the skills of the students. So this is another area that we need to focus on. And all you can look from sector by sector, because everything is not possible to be talked about, and neither I am competent to talk about all of them. But we can look at sector specific requirements as to what is to be done. So even though we may be 60% pharmacy of the world, but there is still lot more needs to be done. AI may mean AI driven discovery in this particular case. AI in project management meant something else there in the morning. So what is the requirement of AI for this particular sector, or drones for a given sector? I think we need to look very critically on them. So a drone for agriculture may not be same as the drone for healthcare, for example, or robotics in one sector may not be same as the robotics in another sector. So these are the kind of things that we need to sort. And you can take more sectors like traffic management. Today I took more than 2 hours to reach this place, primarily because of traffic. Otherwise I should have reached here 1 hour. So how do we manage the traffic using whether it is AI or it is image processing or whatever? So how do we do it? Net zero national transport. A lot of work is happening in this area, but are we net zero? Definitely far from it. Can we think of making our own regional transport aircraft first, and then that on the hydrogen? So these are the things that, and like that we can talk about each one of them. And this is last point which I am saying, urban circularity is very, very important, because unless we go for this extractive process of the earth will continue to remain, which we need to bring into regenerative state. So that is something. Recently, AICTE has launched a program, minor degree program for defense technology. Contribute to those sectors effectively. I think I will use it, no problem. Oh. Yeah, it changed, it took some time. So then I thought, let me just do a little bit of loud thinking. and say what we need to, some quantitative measures for us to work on. And food is the most basic thing for any human being. Most basic things, but you look at the losses that we have today, 10 to 15% post-harvest, and water productivity is not good, and uneven access to proteins, etc. Can we fix some targets? So instead of 10 to 15%, let us say we will have only less than 5%. And if we can do that, why not do it? Likewise, the efficiency of water, how good water utilization can be there. So like that we can fix up, and what kind of technologies will get into those to meet these requirements. Those are all listed there. So similarly in health area. Now health area we are very strong in vaccines, generics, etc. But even then real-time disease surveillance is not there in the country. Expanded health span, universal healthcare records, universalization. Can I exchange the health records from one hospital to another hospital electronically? All those things we need to look at. Likewise in financial sectors, no problem, no problem. Financial sectors, defense and security. So today if you look at defense and security, because I come from that background, we have credible deterrence against our neighbors. We are a regional power, and this has been demonstrated recently also. We have growing cyber and space capability, and there is reasonable resilience in the system now that even if somebody denies us something, the country will be able to do it. But we still get to full spectrum deterrence, and when I say full spectrum deterrence, it is not only land, air, and sea and space, it is also electromagnetic waves, it is also cognitive space, those kind of things also. And even today we are dependent on the computing resources coming from semiconductor resources coming from different countries. Of course the government has taken the initiative, and what we need to do is, for the technical people here, multi-agent or intelligence fusion, SAR constellation, hypersonic and anti-hypersonic technologies, and things like that, quantum safe communication, LEO and very low Earth orbit sensors. Very low Earth orbit sensors are very important these days, and the work is not happening so much as much is required. So I think we need to do a lot of work on very low Earth orbit sensors. Energy, as I said earlier, 200 gigawatt renewables today, but can we go to 1,500 gigawatt? And some proposed goals for hydrogen and nuclear, and various technologies that we need to master. Likewise in and then it should